I was born in Houston, Texas. All my family is from Houston area. My parents split when I was around 4 years old.
Well, I got a divorce when the kids were young. I decided to move here into Austin.
I didn't have any family in Austin. I didn't have a dad. Probably went to about 5 different elementary schools when I was a kid. Moved to the north side of Austin when I was around 11, 12 years old. So the very beginning of middle school.
At the time, I didn't know anything about the program, about Big Brothers and Big Sisters. It was just an online search. So I wrote a very extensive email that I was a single parent of 3 and I was just looking for something healthy and something, productive for them.
I didn't really have a consistent role model around. The one that I called dad, I did have him around. But unfortunately, after he got deported when I was around 13, I kind of lost touch with him.
As a teenager, he didn't have a father figure, so I just thought a big brother would be possibly the next best thing.
We were matched in November of 2013, and I remember getting a call in October or September saying Tito is an expressive person, he needs someone to just listen to him, and I said, I think I can do that. Whenever people ask me about Big Brothers, Big Sisters and the beginning of my relationship with Tito, for us it was really easy.
I like to meet new people. I'm very open. It was for sure a little weird because it's kind of like he's gonna be a part of my life now. It's kind of like instant. That's what it felt like. It felt very instant.
I don't know how Big Brothers Big Sisters matches people together, but for us it was very seamless.
Whenever Tito had any type of event in school, Rob will be there.
In middle school, there's this program called Marathon High. I was running the half marathon and like around mile 4 or 5. Him and my family were there with big old signs. That was very awesome to me. We would throw around the Frisbee every once in a while. He for sure showed me around a couple of museums.
Whether that's us reading a book together and then me rewarding that with a Chinese food dinner, or us playing Scrabble or going bowling together, or just trying to think of ways to be constantly involved with everything that's going on. At the beginning of 8th grade, I got a call from my match support specialist saying Tito's experiencing a medical crisis.
I got a phone call from the nurse saying that Tito's jaw was kind of shaking and that she didn't know what was going on. I tried talking to him and I couldn't even understand over the phone because he couldn't talk right. We called an ambulance and then they just took him to the doctor.
That was the scariest thing I've ever went through. I had to be restrained by 4 paramedics. I had to be put in some body bag thing because they had to force me to stay still. I had to go to the hospital and then eventually I couldn't move. I could only blink. I didn't know what was going on.
They said that it was just like an anxiety attack. And then from there, it just escalated to the point where he would not be able to walk, he wouldn't be able to talk, and he continued to have those episodes, sometimes like 6 times a day. Tito was diagnosed with conversion disorder. It's an emotional trauma that manifests physically. So he had some episodes where he would look just like an epileptic seizure.
Like, what doctors and psychiatrists or whoever would tell me is that there was a lot of things that I did not talk about that I just wanted to block away. Throughout my whole life, it felt like things were temporary. I never stayed in the same place. I had a dad, went to jail, had somebody that I called dad, got deported. Things that I did not want in my mind, that I did not want to live through anymore, they all came back at the same time. And so it felt like I was literally living in it. I didn't know how to handle it.
One day, Rob went to visit, and I remember that day clearly. Rob got there, he's supposed to pick up Tito. So he went over there, and then he came back out, and then he's like, hey, D, he's like, I think something's wrong with Tito.
He came, and I told him to get out. I didn't want him around.
Tito looked very confused, and he hugged me, and he started kind of like crying, and he's like, Mom, I don't know who he is. What's going on? And then I was just like in shock because I didn't know what to say. Like, I didn't know what to tell him. And then we just realized that he actually didn't know who Rob was.
I lost my memory twice. So I did not know who Rob was. I didn't know my friends at school. I didn't know my teachers. I didn't know anything at all.
I think that was the strangest thing of having to reintroduce myself to him several times and having to talk with him about the same things over and over again so that he would feel comfortable and we could move forward.
He spent all that time trying to earn my trust, trying to make an impact on my life, and all of that just went away.
Because of sensitivity to loud noises, we decided we would just walk around his complex as he was gaining back his ability to speak and form sentences. And that was probably 2 or 3 meetings that we had where we just would walk.
He stuck along through all of that. He earned my trust again, and then finally when I got my memory back, it felt a lot better.
I remember talking to my match sports specialist and she asked, do you want to keep going with this? And I said, yes, I do.
He would just do what he normally did. That made a big impact on me. Just stuff that he would always do for me, the way he was before. He never treated me any different.
I'd made a commitment to Tito and Big Brothers Big Sisters, and the way that I looked at it was, this is the moment where I have to keep showing up and provide support for Tito.
So it was around that time he became more like family to me. It built a stronger bond because that's something super personal that he experienced with me.
I was so cautious those first couple of years because I wanted to make sure that I was not causing any undue distress. He started lifeguarding, I believe, after his sophomore year of high school, and he made a save, within the first 3 weeks of his job. And his mother and I just turning to each other and being like, he didn't have a seizure. Oh my gosh, he didn't have a seizure. How cool is this? And that was really probably the last time I really thought about his conversion disorder.
He's been to literally everything that I've asked him to be there for, which is awesome.
Christmases, birthdays, every type of celebration that we had.
I graduated high school. He was one of the 2 people that weren't part of my immediate family that came to my high school graduation.
His mom sent me a text message beforehand of, you better be there because the 2 of us are the only 2 that have continually been there for him through all the ups and downs.
It was very, very nice, very emotional.
So grateful that his mom and he wanted me to be there. We were both in tears as he walked across stage.
What's kept me and Rob matched all these years? Just a genuine friendship between us. I thought it was only going to be a year or 2. I didn't expect it to be this lifelong friendship that we have now.
I did not expect to become this invested in my little brother's life. I remember we went on a hike, I think when he was 15 or 16, and just thinking through like, man, you've accomplished so much in the past couple of years.
When I get married, he's going to be there. When I have my kids, he's going to be there. So I see it genuinely as like a lifelong friendship. I don't see it ending.
I hope for the future that Tito accomplishes everything that he says his mind to. I'm incredibly proud of how he dreams big and then how he's able to really create some plans around his dreams.
If you told me that day that I met Rob that he was going to be there for all of that, I wouldn't have believed you. But it happened, and Big Brothers Big Sisters changed my life.
I cannot express how grateful I am and how blessed to have found Big Brother Big Sister and enroll Tito in the program.
If you could say something to Rob about your match, what would you want him to know?
That I love him. And that I love him, and he genuinely changed my life. That's what I would say to him. I wanted to be a big since I was around 16, 17 years old. So I was just kind of waiting for me to be old enough to be one.
It's just funny. He casually mentioned it to me during one of our lake walks where he just said, oh yeah, I'm thinking about becoming a big brother. I'm going to do the volunteer training. And I said, what? Wait, hold on a second. Let's go back to all of this.
He did inspire me to become a big myself. So now I've been matched with my little for somewhere around 8 months now. So now I'm a big at 19 years old.
It's so unreal. My friends like to joke around with me that I'm a grand big now, and it's so unreal. It's the coolest thing.